Are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC? I'm attempting to scroll up to the top of the comments. I got it now. So here, Steven starts us off by saying pretenders. D Good says, with the offensive line, they're pretenders. Lou Man says contenders. There on YouTube. KG on YouTube says contenders. No doubt. Tighten Up says pretenders. Jake splits it up. He says defensively, yes, contenders. Offensively, without Derek, they're pretenders. So without Derek, as in without Derrick Henry on the field, without Derrick Henry being effective, with Derrick Henry injured, like I don't know where Jake's.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw a flag on that, Jake. I mean, I think you got to pick one. That's part of the question. Is any team, like, you can say, well, without Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are pretenders. So I mean, with the team as it is, assuming Derrick Henry is healthy, their style of football, does it translate? That's the question.
Yeah. Titans Kyle on YouTube says contenders because of that defense. Let's see. Stephen Wood Jr. says pretenders. Now we got a string of contenders with Jimbo, Dago, and Jacoby, with contenders. Xavier's also a contender here. Vote. Jarrell says it hurts. Now, I don't know if that's a pun or not, but it hurts. But it's that the Titans are pretenders. Eric Castillo says pretenders. Vasa on YouTube contenders. Travis says reluctantly pretenders. Jabu contenders with question mark. I think that's fair. Jeremy Michael says contender. The passing game is coming alive. The run game has got to get better though. Jonathan Caverly says pretenders. So that's some of the comments. You guys continue to comment. We'll go back to those throughout here. And so, Sam, what do you think? Are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC?
I think they're contenders. And I know that, like, their style of football is not pretty. It's not what the NFL wants to advertise. Sometimes it's not what fans want to see. I still think the Titans are contenders. I think they're contenders for a couple of reasons. Number one is that defense that was brought up by the chat. This defense gets off the field on third down. They're effective in the red zone. They bend, they don't break. They keep them in games. They have not given up 20 points in regulation. Before last week, there was a long stretch where they hadn't done 20 points in regulation. That keeps you in every football game. And I think Mike Vrabel is another reason why I put the Titans in the contender category. They're not the favorite by any means, but they have shown over the last couple of weeks that they beat the teams they're supposed to, and the teams that are right up there in that contender bubble, they play tough. Like, we sat here talking about that Kansas City game and said they win that game if Ryan Tannehill is their starting quarterback right there. They played well enough to beat Kansas City. Kansas City is the slam dunk number one in the eyes of everybody in the AFC right now. You probably beat Cincinnati if not for a couple plays, and it's always going to come down to a couple plays. So I also want to separate last year's team from this year's team. Not the same team. Them losing in the playoffs last year doesn't mean they're going to do it this year. And just because you didn't win the Super Bowl doesn't mean you weren't a contender to do so. So I think the Titans are a contender. And until they prove me otherwise, I firmly believe that to be the case.
Yeah, so my overall answer is also contender. I don't think they're pretenders. I think they're going to be in any type of game they play. I think that Bills game has proven to be somewhat of an anomaly, an outlier. The Bills game, when it happened, was the biggest loss that Mike Vrabel has had in 4+ seasons as Titans head coach.